What if I told you that the world's most famous story isn't quite as you know it? From the west to the east, the story of Jesus Christ of Nazareth is known by atheists, skeptics, and religions that do not worship him. The Christian Bible, which recounts passages of Jesus' life from childhood to death, remains the best-selling book on the planet. But not all the stories about Jesus are found in this sacred book. One of them is the account of the Holy Shroud, also known as the Shroud of Turin. The Holy Shroud is, for many, the greatest proof of Jesus' existence. Surrounded by mysteries, it is the object of scientific study. And I'm here to tell you all about it. If you want to uncover this lesser-known story, stay with me until the end. After all, what is the Holy Shroud? The Holy Shroud is a linen cloth over 4 meters long and more than 1 meter wide. But it's far from being just a simple piece of fabric. On it is imprinted the negative image of a naked and wounded man, apparently beaten, scourged, crucified, and crowned with thorns. Sounds familiar? That's why religious believers and many historians worldwide believe this image is the imprint of Jesus' body. The Holy Shroud would then be the burial cloth in which he was wrapped after the crucifixion. This makes sense because, in the Middle Ages, shrouds were commonly used in funeral rites. They were often made of linen or even fabrics from India. But how did the image of Jesus' body become imprinted on this cloth? For science, contact with a wounded human corpse, along with bloodstains and the folds of the fabric, would have created the image. For the faithful, the image was imprinted by the release of a divine light or energy. Regardless of which version you believe, one fact is indisputable. The cloth exists, and historical accounts provide a fascinating journey. What history tells us it's unclear when the first account of the shroud emerged, but its existence has been well documented since the 10th century. Researchers who believe in the Shroud of Turin suggest its journey began in Jerusalem with the death of Jesus. The Bible itself provides clues. All 4 Gospels describe Jesus' burial. Matthew, Mark, and Luke mention a clean linen cloth used to wrap his body. John's Gospel adds that his body was wrapped with aromatic spices, as was customary in Jewish burials. After 3 days, Jesus rose again, leaving behind the burial cloth, which was found by Simon Peter and John. However, the Bible alone wasn't enough to confirm the shroud's authenticity or convince skeptics. They required more evidence, which is where historical research comes into play. Early historical accounts suggest that after years of concealment, the shroud was first sent to Edessa, an ancient Mesopotamian city, now Şanlıurfa in Turkey. Years later, it is said to have been moved to Constantinople, present-day Istanbul, also in Turkey. Some historians believe the shroud became the property of Byzantine emperors and disappeared during the 1204 sack of Constantinople. After this event, the cloth is thought to have been taken by crusaders and transferred to Athens, Greece, where it remained until 1225. The shroud in France and Italy. The story becomes clearer in the 14th century, when official documents mention the Shroud of Turin. Records state that the sacred cloth arrived in France in the town of Liry around 1353 to 1357. About a century later, it was purchased by the Dukes of Savoy, one of Europe's oldest noble families. In 1578, the shroud was taken to Turin, Italy, where it remains today. The cloth underwent some brief relocations for studies and safekeeping during times of war. Eventually, the shroud stayed with the House of Savoy until it was officially donated to the Catholic Church in the late 1980s. Scientific studies and controversies. The Holy Shroud has faced numerous challenges over the centuries, including fire damage and repairs. Since 1969, scientists have examined it in depth. A radiocarbon dating test in 1988 suggested the cloth was not from Jesus' time but rather dated between 1260 and 1390, indicating it could be a medieval forgery. This study was highly controversial, as experts argued that a 1532 fire might have altered the cloth's chemical composition, skewing the results. Further studies analyzed dust and pollen particles from the shroud, concluding that they came from plants native to the Middle East, matching its supposed journey. More recently, in 2018, forensic experts conducted bloodstain pattern analysis. Their results, published in the Journal of Forensic Science, suggested the shroud might be a hoax. However, This study was widely criticized for failing to replicate the physical condition of a tortured and crucified individual. Where to see the shroud today? The Holy Shroud is kept in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in Turin, in a sealed case filled with inert gas to preserve its delicate fabric. It is not on display daily, but millions of pilgrims visit Turin each year to pray near the chapel where it is stored. Public exhibitions occur occasionally, with the next one scheduled for 2025. Replicas of the shroud can be found worldwide, including in Itapira, São Paulo, Brazil. The replica in Itapira is one of 3 official copies. Visitors can schedule guided tours to see it up close. Faith, science, and mystery. The Holy Shroud continues to captivate believers and skeptics alike. With technological advancements, efforts to recreate the image using artificial intelligence have sparked new debates. Yet, the shroud remains an enigma, bridging faith and science. What do you think? Is the Holy Shroud truly the burial cloth of Jesus, or just an elaborate medieval forgery? Share your thoughts.